We've seen it time and time again with businesses not following the updates with SEO that have relied typically on SEO to rank. And
AI is not asking about how many times does this page mention the keyword. It's more asking the question, does this business or source actually understand the topic and the surrounding concepts?
there's a lot of dodgy agencies out there or people pretending to do SEO the right way. And that's something that people need to be monitoring, because we see it over and over. People that come to us and they've been doing SEO, as they say, for 2 years, but they've got absolutely no authority built up or ranking built up.
If your brand is not showing up there, your competitors are already capturing those conversions instead of you.
Alrighty, welcome back to the podcast. It has been a very long time since we've gotten out the recording equipment, and nothing better to bring back an episode than SEO. I'm very excited to be back. It has been nearly a year and a half since our last episodes, and Earng Media has been focused very strong on expansion. We've got some exciting new things that are going to be coming out over the next bite-sized bits of information or episodes, but we obviously have brand new departments that we are ready to bring to market. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about why SEO is changing in 2026 and how to rank Google AI search results. Now, this is a bit of a backflip for anyone who's ever listened to the podcast before or knows Earng Media. Earng Media typically hasn't gotten involved in SEO, and recently it's become more prevalent for a lot of our bigger clients, and so we are stepping into the journey of helping people navigate the SEO market better. And none other than our own internal head of department, Ralph Andre. Welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thank you, Jackson. So yeah, I'm pleased to be your guest.
That's okay. Now, Ralph, you've been a part of Earng Media for not a great deal of time, for the last 3 to 4 months. We've been working very closely in building out the Earng Media SEO department. And you're going to be overseeing these episodes from an SEO point of view to make sure that the shit that comes out of my mouth is actually factual and it's actually going to help people. I think that's the goal, at least. So, mate, today we're going to be talking a little bit about the major updates with Google and what's the difference between the AI shift for people to dumb it down to what it actually means from where we were with Panda and Penguin and RankBrain in the past.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Jackson. So because I actually wanted to start this part of the conversation by saying this very clearly. Search engine optimization is not dead. It's evolving. Just like every other field in marketing that has evolved over time. So what makes this a shift different from Panda, Penguin, or RankBrain is that those updates still played within the same rules, meaning they were about improving how Google ranked websites. For example, for Panda, it focuses on content quality, while Penguin, it targeted manipulative link building strategies. And RankBrain, it helped Google better understand search queries using machine learning, basically. So essentially, this AI shift is fundamentally different because it's not just changing rankings, but more so, it's changing how answers are delivered. For example, Google's AI overview, along with platforms like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or Perplexity, when you enter a specific question on Google, they often answer the question directly before even a user ever clicks a website. And that adds another layer of complexity for any business owners out there, because it means that you can technically rank number one, but still lose traffic because the AI or any LLMs out there has already summarized the answer for you without you ever clicking or going through a tons of websites, reading their content, reading their pages, their blogs, because AI already does that for you. So essentially, when SEMrush released their data about pages who are actually in the top 3 positions, they actually are seeing lower CTR. So for our listeners, when we say CTR, these are basically click-through rates. on informational queries, especially when AI overviews or rich answers are present. So yes, that's basically like how important or how fundamentally big this AI shift is.
And I think it's interesting when you look at from a behavioral point of view of how Google and some of these other search engines are shifting, is that we used to have to click into like you want to find out a piece of information, you'd click into 5 or 6 articles, and you would see all of the articles down the page kind of turn purple as you open them up to read different bits of information. I mean, this is from an information point of view, but now the percentage of people that don't open any articles and make a search, read that little AI prompt that Google gives, and then leave is increasing massively. Now, I want to ask, how does that affect, and we'll come back to sort of the agenda here today, but how does that effect happen? Because that's from a research point of view, but what's the effect for that like for people like trades businesses or people that are service-based, and someone's searching a service and they want to click in to the first few articles to get a quote or to actually inquire about the service? How does that have an influence?
Yeah, that's honestly a good question, Jackson, because I do not think most businesses fully understand how big this shift is. Because when we say most searches in 2026 or this year and beyond will be answered by AI before anyone clicks a website, that's not just a user interface change. That's more of a behavior change. Because when we trace back how SEO works before, it's just about find and click, but now it's more of you ask and then decide. So the moment the answer appears on the AI overview or any LLMs, the decision often happens there because those are actually higher intent keywords, meaning that before even actually reading any or going to any pages or websites, you actually have an idea on what to click and who to trust. Because basically, LLMs scrape data based on who are the most trusted sources across the web.
Yeah. Okay. And from a point of view of ranking, like let's jump into where are businesses feeling their SEO is being most heavily affected from this. Like obviously the loss of traffic would be felt the most because people are no longer making it to the website. But why basically is keyword-based SEO breaking down? Like what's the elements that are happening behind the scenes? Like let's dumb it down for me to understand.
Yeah, so keywords-based SEO is breaking down because keywords are no longer how decisions are made or how AI understands content. Because for years, SEO was just about matching exact phrases. For example, you have a keyword about aged care provider in Wynnum, Queensland. So before, the target there or the goal there is just to repeat this phrase in the title, the headers, the body, the meta description, the meta title enough times to signal relevance. But in this shift, that worked when search engines were mostly matching words and basic semantics. But hey, welcome to the age of AI. Because, the way AI overviews work is they evaluate semantic understanding. So that means you look at meaning, they look at context, they look at how concepts.
So it's no longer just about the volume of using a keyword, it's the quality of the use of that keyword.
Yeah, that's correct. Like you chase more on the actual queries of your audience, like actual pain points of your audience instead of just keyword stuffing.
Yep. Okay. And with that being said, like we've obviously seen from studies, the show rate of authority changing in Google. And when we talk about authority, we mean how Google rates our website. If you put it from a gold star point of view, is it 5-star level to 1-star level? And that's the authority that Google sees in our website. Now, we're seeing that get shifted and become a stronger metric for getting domain traffic. But basically, what's the typical depth that businesses need to be looking at for here around what are the important steps between keywords and authority that they need to be focusing on to continue to rank higher?
Okay. So first, I would like to define what is topical authority for any of our viewers or listeners right now. So when you say topical authority, it basically means showing Google and AI models that you truly understand your topic. You're not just repeating keywords. And in terms of growing a business's topical authority, that's backlinks. Backlinks are more important than ever this time because they influence more than just rankings. They actually affect how AI and large language models interpret your authority. For example, in a large study analyzing over 1,500 Google search results, they found that there's no consistent correlation between keyword density and rankings. In fact, higher ranking pages often use the main keyword less than the lower ranking ones. So, what does that mean? It means that AI is not asking about how many times does this page mention the keyword. It's more asking the question, does this business or source actually understand the topic and the surrounding concepts? So that's how you build your topical authority. Like you position yourself as a thought leader that you have an intentional part of marketing, basically.
Okay. And like we've seen it time and time again with businesses not following the updates with SEO that have relied typically on SEO to rank. And I think the conversation of who you trust in an SEO capacity, there's a lot of dodgy agencies out there or people pretending to do SEO the right way. And that's something that people need to be monitoring because we see it over and over. People that come to us and they've been doing SEO, as they say, for 2 years, but they've got absolutely no authority built up or ranking built up. So I guess the only main thing I want to understand a bit more of, for the people that are watching and utilizing SEO already, what are the worst case scenarios if they don't start to pivot towards the AI driven search changes and they keep doing the older form of SEO that they've been doing traditionally for 2 or 3 years in the past?
Love that question. Love that question. If you've ever heard terms like geo, AAO, those are basically just SEO. They are
What do all these terms
formulating
mean?
yeah. When you go to LinkedIn or any platforms and you follow a lot of SEO professionals, they tend to have a lot of acronyms like AEO, GEO, but more so, they are just basically the same SEO. The fundamentals are the same. It's just that there's some tweaks to be done on how you do SEO.
Well,
Because Jackson, the
it's
worst.
the just for context, it's where you do the search. So the difference between GEO, AEO, and SEO is just where the search occurs, right? Like if you do the search in ChatGPT, or if you do it in an AI tool, or if you do it directly in Google, or if you use a voice search like Siri. So when people get confused around this, you've got to not get overwhelmed with the different acronyms and just go, we're still actually just doing engine optimization and it's for wherever people search. And I think that's a better way to do it. Otherwise, there's too many acronyms that get people going, oh, I'm paying for all these other acronyms of types of service. And realistically, it's about just making sure that you should be paying to get the service like SEO done in all types of engine optimization, right?
Yeah, basically going to your question, the worst case scenario when businesses ignore this shift is that they basically become invisible. And consumers right now aren't just looking for information on Google; they are turning to AI models. So basically, you do SEO on where your prospects actually are going to. So basically, you optimize in every possible pathway that they go to. And then the other big risk is missing decision moments because, again, consumers are making choices in TikTok comments, Reddit, Amazon reviews, YouTube videos, even social media and AA overviews. So if your brand is not showing up there, your competitors are already capturing those conversions instead of you. For example, the other day, Jackson, I mentioned that one of our clients finally featured in ChatGPT. And I take that as a huge, huge win because AI is basically now quoting their content directly, which means whenever someone asks a question on the platform, our client is being trusted and recommended already. So that's a form of authority. That's a topical authority and visibility already.
Yeah, which I don't think they realize the value that brings or the difficulty of it. But massive to be able to ask ChatGPT a question about it and then it reference your website to
Mhm.
give that answer. That's almost better form of ChatGPT or better form of SEO than we've ever had in the past. Well, look, to
Mhm.
keep it light, like if we were to look, if businesses don't start to move towards engine optimization like they've been doing SEO for a while, I think there's a gradual thing. Like from my side with my clients I'm managing, I'm seeing that they're not even looking towards this, and they're going to slowly see less organic sales and traffic coming through to the front door,
Mhm.
and somewhat they don't currently track that or measure it, but they notice those little dips that consistently happen. I think that's going to be the biggest downpour if people don't start looking at adjusting, because it's been so easy to get ranked in AI driven search engines. Like when we try, we can get ranked there very quickly. So it's important to then
Mhm.
say that if you're not the first into that marker, then you're going to have a much more difficult time than becoming first later on, which I think is important to mention as well. Now, if someone wants to stay visible around AI powered search over this year and stay up to date with what's going on, what's the top three things or top few things that they can be doing to make sure that they can keep their business ahead of the ever changing curve?
Yeah. So to every business owners right there who's listening to us, I highly suggest focusing on three things. First is topical authority. You need to show that you truly understand your subject, your business, the industry, the pillar pages, the linked subtopics, and then the semantic depth. Because AI and search engine recognizes you as the go-to resource. That's basically the goal, to be able to be recognized by any LLMs out there. And then the second advice that I give is focus on EEAT. So basically, it stands for expertise, experience, authority, and trust. Because AI doesn't just look at what you say, it looks at who you are. So that means you can add author bios, credentials, either on your About Us page, case studies, and even earning mentions across blogs, podcasts, and news outlets out there. So the other week, I attended this 2-day extensive webinar for a cause. And one of the highlights there is that there's this trend that even unlinked brand mentions, they count as trust signals. Because in the past, we need a website, like our website, to be hyperlinked to other websites to be considered as a backlink. But this time, even though it's a no follow backlink, it still counts as long as
What
your
does no
brand name is
follow
mentioned.
mean? Like, what does the reference of no
Yeah,
follow mean?
so yeah, basically there's two types of backlink: the no follow and do follow. A do follow backlink is basically when you click, let's say, a hyperlink text, then it prompts another website. That's a do follow backlink. A no follow backlink basically is the opposite. Like, you do not need your website to be linked out there, but as long as your brand is mentioned, your, like, a short description of what you do, what your services are, your location, and even your phone number, that's a trust signal still. And that's the new movement that any SEO professionals out there are observing as well.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, and then the last, yeah, there's still one. And then the other one that I could say for every business owners out there is to invest in AI friendly structure, meaning that your content, either your blogs or any informational content, is to parse for AI models. And how can you do that? You can do that by using clear headings, bullet points, schema markup, visuals, and explicit data. Meaning you go for a more multimodal approach. Meaning you embed podcasts, a lot of graphics, tables, YouTube videos. So that's basically how LLMs prefer in terms of how they dissect and scrape content on who to feature in their platforms, basically.
Yeah, cool. And if that's that's a very light version of SEO for us for a big topic. We are obviously going to be doing a load more episodes on SEO and breaking it down and trying to get it to a point where people feel it's achievable. So what can people be doing if they're wanting to sort of get a step forward on SEO, potentially get it started for the first time, or potentially even look at getting adjustments to their SEO to make sure that they're doing it right and get it audited properly?
What I can say is go learn search engine optimization first yourself, because you do not work just directly with any marketing agencies without ever understanding on how SEO works. Because a lot of, what's funny here is that Earng Media is basically a marketing agency, but we do not advocate for like partnering with us without you understanding at least the basic foundations of a specific part of marketing, for in this case SEO. Because for any great collaboration and any great results, it should be a hand-in-hand work. Meaning that if you understand SEO, and then if we pitch you a plan and you understand the foundation on how that works, then it's more of a collaborative approach, meaning that you would definitely support the plan of the marketing agency without you ever questioning if they are adding value or if they are just wasting your money. So basically, you can start on researching for some reputable SEO platforms that offers, for example, SEMrush. They are one of the biggest platforms out there that they offer free courses in terms of the basic foundations of SEO. So once you have that grasp on how these strategies work, then I think that's a good time that, you look for a partner.
Yeah. And I think the other area you can go, like I use it all the time, is Claude or even ChatGPT bot, where you just go and turn on the speaking feature and you just talk to it and you say, look, I know nothing about this topic, help me, and then build your knowledge up on it. And I find that can be a really powerful tool to start that. Like if we're ever working with an external or a third party company to help us with anything, I go and learn all of the basic things about it, the fundamentals, the restrictions, because then when we're talking to them, we can question people on it, and we can sort of get to a point where we understand the strategy. And I think from Earng Media's point of view, like I obviously work with a lot more clients than yourself, Raf, on the other departments, but anyone who knows the basics of that department seems to always get a better result out of working with Earng Media, whether they help us feed ideas, but or whatever it is, it seems to just always get a better result from a consistency point of view, and that they receive and then we strategize it together better. And I think that comes down to people that put the time in themselves to master something. They also see the value in what we do as an agency, rather than just thinking that we're just doing the bare minimum. Because as you'd be aware, like a lot of the people that run the more successful the business is working with Earng Media, they do seem to say that we're more of a fairly priced option in the market. And I think that comes down to a lot of our more successful businesses are also very knowledgeable on all of the stuff we do for them. So they're not sort of blindsided around the process of what we do, but instead they work very collaboratively. So it works in the same of SEO. Anyone that's wanting to get SEO done, it's very important you at least understand the basics so you know if they're doing a good job. It's everything we've got for today's episode. Appreciate you jumping in, Raf. And obviously, if you do want to speak further about SEO with Earng Media, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, jump on our website and learn a little bit more through our future podcast episodes. Talk soon.